Dogumentary TV, producing the best breed documentaries on YouTube.
The Old English Bulldog to me is the best breed because it's the ultimate family pet. It's a dog that's loyal, it's protective, and the greatest part is, unlike the English Bulldogs, you can actually take your dog out and go to the beach and go hiking and do the things that most families want to do with their pets. My name's Ari from One of a Kind Bulldogs. I'm a local breeder in San Diego of Old English Bulldogs, also known as Victorian Bulldogs, and we also run a rescue. I've been breeding for about 12 years now and been doing rescue for about 6 years now. I've always wanted an English Bulldog. In my mid-20s, I did some searching and just came to find out it was a very problematic breed. After doing all my research and hearing about the maintenance and the low lifespan, I realized it wasn't the breed for me. Somebody turned me on to the Old English Bulldog, and once I saw my first one, I was strung on him. The Old English Bulldog historically was used for bull baiting. In the 1800s, when they banned bull baiting, the Bulldog went two directions. One direction was crossing it with Terrier and turning into the pit bull you see today, and the other direction was the modern English Bulldog you see today. The point of this breed is to recreate the historic look and athletic ability and cut out all the health problems that are so common with the English Bulldogs of today. In the 70s, David Levitt and Greg Hermes were two breeders who started the Old English Bulldog. They both went in their own direction. Levitt Bulldogs are very gamey and athletic dogs, true working dogs. Greg Hermes dogs were on the bigger side, a lot more American in them, but both of them had a vision and they acquired their vision. I would say my Old English Bulldogs vary from David Levitt's quite a bit because I'm not looking to breed a super athletic dog. I'm not looking to breed working dogs. I want capable dogs. I want dogs who can handle basic day-to-day events with their families, but I'm not looking for a dog that needs to be worked every day to fulfill their energy needs. I would say David Levitt dogs are the definition of a working bulldog, which is not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an athletic ability, but I don't want too much drive on my dogs. Not many people can handle working dogs, unfortunately, and most pet owners aren't looking for working dogs. They're looking for a family companion. Most of my lines start from Sumo lines and Victorian lines. We did have some Hermes lines. We don't have any David Levitt lines in our blood. My dogs are by now a few generations deep into my own bloodlines. A lot of the Sumo stuff was from Carlos Woods, my Bulldogs. He's a Victorian Bulldog breeder. It's hard to say where a lot of the bloodline stemmed from, but those were some of the dogs that he used in his foundation, and they became pretty popular. I'm pretty far drawn off from those lines by now. I would say the closest things direct Sumo in my bloodlines is probably 7, 8, maybe even 9 generations back. Pet owners love this breed. Just noticing from my own clientele, about 95% of them are families. They have a breed that they can have around their children and trust around their children, and a breed that is loyal and protective. To top it off, health. You know, a lot of people want to take their dogs out. They want to go to the beach in San Diego. They want to go hiking. And, you know, that's stuff the English Bulldog just can't handle, whereas these Old English Bulldogs can handle basic day-to-day activities. The Old English Bulldog, the greatest thing is ultimately the health. They are bred for health. Giving them a little longer muzzle and tightening up the face and giving them a little bigger body is ultimately the difference maker. The Old English Bulldogs average a 10 to 14 year lifespan. They don't need their tail pockets cleaned every day. They don't need their face folds cleaned. Those aren't common issues with them. In general, when breeding for health, you shouldn't have allergies in your dogs. You should have nice hips, nice elbows, and an all-around athletic dog that can handle running around and jumping and doing basic day-to-day things. One of the most common problems with English Bulldogs is palate issues, cherry eye, entropion, a lot of skin allergies. These just aren't problems that are supposed to be associated with Old English Bulldogs. Some of those surgeries can run into thousands, whereas an Old English Bulldog shouldn't have those problems and should be relatively low cost when it comes to vet expenses. Some of the problems that pop up with Old English Bulldogs all stem back to common English Bulldog problems. Cherry eye, entropion, palate issues, pinch nares, bad hips, but that is all relative to what you put in your lines. I've noticed many breeders who put a lot of English Bulldogs into their Old English Bulldogs bring back some of those health problems so common in the English. I don't put too much English in my lines. I try to get a clean, structured dog. I don't breed for anything extreme. You start trying to breed for a massive head, you get some of the problems in that head. You breed for a massive chest, you start getting some bowie arms. I'm looking for a clean, proportioned dog that's able to handle running around and doing things without any extremities. Standards vary with the Old English Bulldog. David Levitt has his own standards, but most of the other registries are pretty close in line with those standards. Most of my dogs sit at about 16 to 19 inches tall. Most of my dogs weigh around 60 to 70 pounds. I tend to think you should have at least a 1-inch muzzle on your dog. It gives them the ability to breathe. 1 inch to 1.5 inch is pretty good. Making sure you don't have too big of an underbite. Once you start getting extreme underbites, you start getting issues like rye jaw. Making sure that you have the nice square chest, not bowie arms, not weak pasterns or splayed feet. One of the bigger problems with the breed is proper angulation on the rear end, which is something we're always working on. So one of the reasons our dogs breathe a lot better, there's actually 3 reasons. First is the elongated soft palate. Flat-faced dogs are more likely to have bad palates, which does affect the breathing and often gives them the snorty type noise like a pig. One thing I won't breed is a dog with a bad palate. From there, muzzle length has another factor. Having a little longer muzzle gives them the ability to breathe a lot better. You can have dogs with long muzzles but still have an elongated soft palate. And then the third issue is pinch nares. Many bulldogs, their nose holes are pretty much pinched shut. That affects the ability to bring in oxygen and breathe better. So if you have a dog with a little longer muzzle, open nares, and a clean palate, you're going to have a great breathing dog. One of the big things about the original Bulldog, a lot of people think it was one specific look. I run a page called Bulldog History on Facebook, and one thing we've clearly documented is that in the 1800s, Bulldogs had a variance of look. They weren't breeding them just for a look, they were breeding them for an ability to be able to fight a bull. But with that work comes certain features that have to be there. Having a dog too tall just didn't work well with the bulls. Having them have too short of a face didn't work either. Having a little bit of underbite helped them latch onto the bulls a lot better. So what I'm trying to produce is dogs very similar to those historic photos. A dog that looks like a bulldog, but at the same time isn't extreme, doesn't have a super flat face, isn't too short to the ground, and isn't packed with too much English Bulldog. But I would say that is probably my favorite thing about the breed is the variance. You can look at a Lab, they all look the same. You can look at a German Shepherd, they all look the same. But you can look at Old English Bulldogs and Victorian Bulldogs, you can tell they're a Bulldog, but you can see the difference in them with other Bulldog breeds. I tend to think our dogs are healthier because they're not heavily inbred and line bred. People talk about all the issues with purebred dogs. I've got many dogs on my property. They're able to eat food with grain in it, with numerous meats in it. I don't have one dog with any known food allergies on my yard. I tend to think breeding for one specific look and then stacking up over and over for that one specific look is what leads to some of the problems. I do believe in outcrossing heavily. When I do line breed, I don't line breed too tight to anything, and I only line breed to dogs that I've produced and dogs that I can vouch for the history and their health behind their history with the parents and the grandparents. When we outcross to another Old English Bulldog. Since there is so much variance, it's easy to find healthy Old English Bulldogs that aren't related. One of my favorite things about the Old English Bulldog is that many of them will acclimate to their owner's activity level. If you're the type who just likes to lounge around on the couch all day, your dog's going to be completely happy lounging around with you. But if you're the type who wants to go on a run and take your dog on a mile hike, as long as you condition your dog for those hikes, they will be able to handle it. Basic activity, take them on a few walks a day, try to give them at least 1 hour of exercise a day. But in general, this breed can hang with you if you're ready to go on long runs and do big activities, and they're also willing to just lounge back with you and be couch potatoes if that's the type of lifestyle you have. The first dog I brought out was Bubbles, my house pet. I've produced her mother, I owned her father, her grandmother on the father's side, and also owned both grandparents on the mom's side and even some of the great-grandparents. She's probably my favorite dog. She's got a very mellow temperament at 6 years old. She's been very athletic as a pup. She could jump 6 feet high like it's no problem. She's been a very healthy dog her whole life. She's went to basic vet exams and all she's ever needed was her shots. I've never had any food allergies with her or aggression issues with her. She's the ultimate family pet and she's a vision of exactly what I wanted to produce. The next dog is my boy Prince. Prince was produced here. His mother was produced here. He's been very healthy. He's athletic. He's very friendly. He's one of my house pets. I've never had any health issues with him. He's been a tank since I've had him as a puppy, since he was born here. And then you also saw his sister, Sugar, the chocolate girl. Sugar's off the same parents, they're litter mates. Both of them are very athletic and are the epitome of an Old English Bulldog when it comes to health and activity levels. I would say one of my favorite things about Sugar is her body type. She's got good angulation on her. She's not extreme. She's a very athletic Bulldog because nothing on her is extreme. Her chest isn't extreme, her head size isn't extreme. Although some people want 20, 25-inch heads, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a clean, proportioned dog, and she's very proportioned for her breed. Mojo is one of my favorites on the yard. His temperament is one of the best. He's got one of the best when it comes to hips. He's very athletic. He can jump over 6-foot fence. He's a very friendly dog. He gets along with every dog I put him with in the yard. I love his angulation on the back. He is definitely a structure that I'm striving to get with a lot of my dogs. And like I say, his personality is just one of the best. Having a dog on my yard that is always happy, always friendly, always gets along with the other dogs, never tries to dominate other dogs is a very good attribute. If you're looking for an Old English Bulldog, go visit some breeders, check out their dogs in person, ask a lot of questions, ask about health testing, ask about palate issues. It might actually be the breed for you. They're healthy, they're active, they have a longer lifespan, and they're great family pets. And if you don't want to buy a puppy, come check out our rescue. We frequently have Old English Bulldogs through our rescue that have great temperaments and will make a great addition to your family.